Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be featuring the new, well kind of new, the new British aircraft carrier HMS Malta. Sorry, I had to let the horn play out then, I was testing it. This is my first ever game in her. You'll be seeing my, literally actually first time ever seeing her I think. I didn't watch anything of her before this. So, should we start with kind of the obvious of what she is? She's not an Audacious, that is... Shut up. She's not an Audacious. She's completely separate from Audacious. She's completely different to the Audacious. She plays nothing like an Audacious. Audacious relies on setting a lot of fires with your rockets and bombs. Torpedoes with a minor flooding chance will help you. This does not rely on dot damage, it just does alpha. She has AP bombs. That's her major difference. This isn't the bombers, these are the rockets I'm taking out. She has AP bombers. A lot of them. She drops like 40 bombs, I think, if I remember rightly. She has 5 planes in the drop. You'll see them later. They're quite impressive. The planes she uses are actually Audacious's planes. They are the same as Audacious, but they're Audacious's stock planes. They're not the Wyverns that you're probably used to seeing from an Audacious. They are the firebrands that you start off with before you upgrade to them. And there's our first strike on a Goliath with the rockets doing 9,000 damage in set. Double fire. I'm sure I'm his favourite player in the world right now. And these planes turn around pretty quick. So within 3 kilometres I managed to turn back around, line up another fresh strike on that Goliath, do another 3.5k and set another permanent fire. So even though I don't say this doesn't rely on dot damage, it can still set fires relatively easily with its rockets. But that's the only way of setting fires. The torps that I've now taken out vary a little bit from Audacious's. It drops 4 in one drop as opposed to the 3 of Audacious. And the other major difference that you'll see is, unlike Audacious's torps that converge to a point, so you can sort of torp nose in battleships or nose in ships and the torps will converge and hit the side. These torps diverge away, meaning that you really need to drop them on a broadside. If you don't drop them on a broadsiding ship, you're just going to miss most of the time. And she also drops 4. That is the other major difference. She drops 4, as you'll see here now. So, this is going to be a fully aimed drop, or practically fully aimed. So that's fully aimed, and it's the torps, you see the lines are moving away from the centre. They're going outwards. Fully aimed, these torps spread. But we do still manage to catch the Petro with 2. And they hit reasonably okay for about 4,000 damage per torpedo on a cruiser, as that was then. So, you're doing consistent damage with these things. They're not devastating like the Hakuryus, but they're not. And there we go, got all 4 and we did like another, what was that, 14,000 damage? 15,000 damage, something like that. But we didn't get a flood. These haven't got a high flooding chance from what I've experienced. Oh, the other thing about the torps as well is they do, because why not, they can turn like the Franklin D. Roosevelts. So you line them up and you can turn 90 degrees and the aiming does not change. You do not lose dispersion. Because that was sensible, wasn't it? That worked with FDR, so why not do it with Malta? Sure. Now, this is what the specialty of this carrier is these AP bombers. The minimap you see every now and then is me just moving the carrier and trying to dodge the midway torps that's trying to hit me. What? I don't know why you try and drop a carrier. Although that comes back to bite me later. Now these aren't AP bombers that are like Hakuryus or Richthofens. They do not Citadel battleships. In fact, they're barely Citadel cruisers. She drops a lot of them. That's all AP bombers. And that's a Goliath with a massive Citadel. I didn't even Citadel that thing. I just got pens. And that's all these bombers will do. Within reason. That's a kind of lie later on. But within reason, all you're going to be doing is penning ships. You're not going to be Citadel and deleting them. You're going to be doing consistent chunk damage like a battleship AP salvo. Doing 8 to 10,000, maybe 15,000 if you get all the bombs on a drop. It's no different to a battleship shooting an angled ship and getting all superstructure pens or bow and stern pens and no citadels. That's kind of all this AP bombers will do. As I found out, there's an Asasho on this left-hand side, who just took the line, and torps are coming vaguely my direction. And I'm heading towards him, which is going to be interesting later on. So, don't expect if you buy this ship with coal... She's available for coal, I'll say that now. Whilst she was available for cash originally for the first 2 weeks, she is now coal. She has been for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks now. She is 268,000 coal, I want to say off the top of my head. She's the most expensive coal ship in the game, followed closely by the maximum one at 264k. So she is a free ship if you want to go and get her. She's there in the armory. She's quite a good carrier. If you like, I say if you like British carriers, she doesn't play anything like the British carriers. But if you like carriers and want a British carrier, a premium carrier that's free, yeah, she's okay. First impressions of her have been okay. She hits reasonably okay. She consistently damages. She does get, if you get spotted, she is quite big. She's very easy to citadel, as is most of the British ones anyway, now I think about it, so she's similar in that respect. But her concealment is no different to Hakuryu's. Her base concealment is the same as Hakuryu, so if you're used to running Hakuryu with no concealment, this is no different. She just turns a bit slower, I think, and is a bit slower in general. As we managed to get that last torpedo managed to survive and get through. We did get a flood with the first set of torpedoes in the Marlborough. That's the first flood in 9 torps, and then the second one actually did hit as well, but it didn't get a flood, presumably because his DCP was still up. And there is a destroyer in B. Because it did fly over, but we didn't know what it was because he smoked up. Given that rate of fire and the fact he's firing AP, the fact he's firing at all probably, we'll assume a... Well, it can't be the Isashi, can it? Because Isashi was at A torping across at the battleship, so it must be the Z. I'm just flying over here with the rocket. See if he drifts out of his smoke. See if he comes out. See if we can spot him for the Kremlin or something. Oh, he does come out. He came straight out. We drop a bunch of fighters. Now, Zed's AA is not to be, like, completely ignored. It's not the best thing in the world, but it is shooting down my planes. I'm only in Zed's AA, and it is shooting down my planes. Slowly, but it is shooting them down. But this kind of brings back what destroyers hate about carriers, is that they can rocket you again. This has got quite a short arming time. Does that make sense? The delay between when you click to fire the rockets and them actually firing, so the machine gun fire. So when I click now, it's only a 3-second delay. It's not like the 5 or 6 or 7 seconds of some of the other, like, American carriers. Even the Japanese are like 4 or 5 seconds, isn't it? She brings back what a lot of destroyer players hated about the carriers in the first place. It's like they've thrown all the gimmicks of, like, different carriers, or the old carriers for that fact, into this. They've given it AP bombers, which everyone hates because you can't heal bomb. They've given it ridiculously turning torpedoes like the FDR, which everyone hated. And they've given it a load of rockets that have a very short delay, which everyone hated. You've packaged it all into one carrier, and everyone hates those facts. Which is probably what makes her a very good carrier to play. She's very consistent. That consistent word is going to come with a lot, this thing. Like, you can do consistent damage, you can do... Oh, I know there's another stupid thing about the carrier as well. It has Kaga regen on the planes. Each plane will, like, rebuild itself in 60 seconds-ish. Across all of them. So it's another fact that everyone hates about carriers, especially Kaga. They've taken all the gimmicks of different carriers that everyone hates and put it all on the Malta. So even though I've lost... I don't know, I must have lost a load of planes. I've still got a full rocket squadron. I've still got a full torpedo squadron. I lost a torpedo squadron when I dropped that Marlborough. That squadron did not get out. Maybe one plane did. But I've still got a full squadron of torpedo bombers. In fact, I've still got 3 in reserve after I've taken off this new squad. I've got 8 dive bombers left in reserve. Although I have got 8 coming back, so that will be 16 total. But I can only have, I think, 20 on deck. So I won't take long to regen those either. I've still got a full rocket squadron. Like, this thing doesn't really lose planes. It will if you keep throwing them at an AA ship. If you keep throwing them into the same bubble of ships, throwing them through the AA, not really dodging and just losing them drop after drop after drop, you will run out. That's the same with any carrier, but you will run out of planes. They're not... Whilst they are infinite, there is only a finite amount you can get in a game. You can only reload so many times. You can only ever fly so many planes. You can only ever have so many planes out in one go. So carriers do run out of planes, people. They're not just like magic factories, whilst they are kind of, because you are regenerating planes out of thin air, but there is a limited amount to them. You shoot down so many, there will be a time when it runs out. Anyway, back to the game. I found both the destroyers in one spot. Oh, and here's what I mean about the turning. So I'm looking like I'm dropping the Z, and now I turn the torps. I turn the torps, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, and they're still actually getting better and better accuracy as we're doing that. Although I do realise I did just hit the destroyer then with a torpedo I dropped earlier, which is interesting. Or did I hit the Vincent with the first set? Which is quite interesting. As I debated moving the carrier here, so I was nice and safe in the H1-2 behind the island like a normal carrier player. I thought, we've cleared this side of the map. I'll move up to F1 behind the island in F1, that little one there. And then torpedoes came past me, and I saw them Brest and the Megami coming back. And I'm like, and we just lost a Donskoy. I shouldn't be there anymore. I need to run away again. Because this game isn't quite won. We've killed more ships and we've got 2 caps and we're getting a 3rd. Finally we're getting C after all this time. I'm looking here to drop the Vincent, but their carrier's just flown straight over, and I thought for them I'll drop a fire, see if he flies into them. Their carrier doesn't seem to be very good. Because he didn't really try and dodge the fight, and there goes his torpedoes. So yeah. And since this is my first game in this thing, I wanted to test what these bombs would do. They're AP bombs. They will pen an amount of armour. I didn't know how much armour they would pen or wouldn't pen. So I think, the carrier's here. I'm in between AA bubbles just. Let's drop the carrier. And do fuck all. We get 2 overpens, I think, on the very stern of the ship, where the deck is doesn't quite cover the whole ship. As a Donskoy says in chat, what the fuck was I doing? I don't know. I didn't know what it could do and not do to a carrier. I wanted to find out. Turns out, nothing. AP bombers on this thing do not pen armoured decks of carriers. But they will consistently chunk superstructures. That's basically all they can pen, is superstructure of most ships. Engaging enemy. As it turns out, both these destroyers are in this cap, in the smoke. Fortunately, we've got our entire team pushing B. As I'm trying to stay out of the AA ranges here of, like, the midway and everything. And it turns out, yeah, both the destroyers are actually in that one smoke screen. And we get a torp on one of the destroyers. I don't know which one because I wasn't looking. And I'm trying to hear now to hit this Vincent. I'm trying to fly through the flak and see where he's going. See where he's going. I can't see where he's going. I can't see where he's going. I can't see where he's going. He's going right. Quick, turn the torps. And because he can turn them without aiming, without losing aiming. And oh shit, torps! Hit the brakes! But it's a carrier. It doesn't maneuver. She is big. She is big to maneuver. But she's a typical carrier. You shouldn't really get spotted anyway. And that was my fault for moving from behind that island in the first place. But this game seems to have been kind of won. We've got 2 caps. We've got 340 point advantage, 330 point advantage. I was going to drop a fighter there until I realised I hadn't got any left on the rockets. Which is a bit of a problem because I would have actually shot down all of his planes then. But you can see, even though I lost all the bombs to the Midway's fighters when I dropped them originally, I've got a full squadron back again. It's fine. No need to worry too much about planes a huge amount. As long as you save enough when you do a drop, you should be okay. And you can cover quite a wide area with a lot of these. Wow, a lot of those didn't pen. What did I hit with those? But you can cover quite a large area, so if there's a manoeuvring ship with these rockets, you can cover a reasonable area. There's a bit of a bug, I think, with the replay, because they were, I'm pretty sure they were fully aimed. Oh, we got a fire. Our 4th fire after how many rockets? 65 rockets, 4 fires. Yeah, you know to start many fires with these things. Excuse me. You don't start many fires with this thing. And that breast is not dead. Do I really have to go and kill him? Oh god, he's killed our line.
Ends in 5 minutes.
We haven't got a destroyer left anymore. Do I really have to kill this breast? Do I really have to go and kill this breast? Drop a fire hoping that the carrier might do the same dumb move he did before and just fly into them. Oh no, I haven't got to kill the breast. Good. Always rely on the Musashi to kill anything in sight. And at this point now the game is practically won. We've got all 3 caps and a 500 point advantage. This game's practically over. We've done reasonably okay at the moment. And now this is something you'd expect to Citadel quite easily, but as you can see before, I didn't Citadel like a Goliath and Petra, so why would I Citadel this thing? But just to prove a point. No Citadels, but we did do 14,000 or 13,500-ish damage to the Pommern. I realise here I can't turn these bombs in time to drop him again in the wrong angle anyway. So I think, oh, it's alright, I'm just going to get the big army. Not the best drop in the world. He's turned broadside a little bit. Bombs hit the side. We do get a Citadel. That's like the only thing you'll Citadel is lower tier cruisers or the super light cruisers at tier 10 like Jinan and Austin and stuff. So anyway, finish the game. We end up with 155,000 damage, 83 bombs because that is the main source of damage and 14 torpedoes in this thing. And only the 1 Citadel because it's not really going to Citadel anything at all. We did come top, even though I only got 1 kill. I did come top with 2,000 base. This is my very first ever game in this thing as well. So take that as you will. First game when I come top in it. Yeah. Musashi comes second with 2,000. Their top player is Sasho at 1,200. And Megami actually didn't get the 1,200 base as well. We did 34,000 damage to their Petropavlovsk, mainly with torpedoes and a few bombs. Goliath, again with, I think, the rockets at the beginning and the bombs for a little bit more. That Azuma we chunked hard for 25k and 2 drops. And that is Pommern for 13k as well. And with the basic bonus package that all tier 10 premiums come with, we end up with 518,000 credits and 9,000 experience. So yeah, it's an okay carrier. If you want a premium British carrier, or premium in quotation marks, she's tier 10, she's not a premium really. If you want a premium-esque carrier for the British as a captain trainer, which is a tier 10 glory ship, then yeah, you'll do consistent damage with this thing. She is very easy. It's quite easy to break 100k in this thing without even trying. Even as a even for non-carrier players, I've seen getting above 100,000 without even trying. So yeah, that's my first thoughts on this ship. Maybe you like her, maybe you like the look of her. She's a nice ship. She's a nice looking ship. She should be the super carrier, not Eagle, but we'll leave that for now. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like and don't forget to consider subscribing if you want to see more like it. And I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye guys, and happy sailing.